Ready for this?
This is a sham.
No.
Nope.
Y'all, just stop.
Get real.
Welcome to DBL. It is good to be back. I have Jeff and Erica with me. I am Tori. It's nice to meet all of you again. Yay!
Welcome back.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's been a long road. I had COVID, unfortunately, but I got through it. A lot of empathy for all those that had it, and let's get started. All right, the Queen Bee, Beyonce, is facing some major criticism right now. She performed in Dubai on Saturday for the first time in 4 years. So it was for the opening of a new Atlantis hotel, and the concert had a no phone policy, but some fans skirted the rules. So let's take a look-see. I love that song. Beyonce wore several outfits for the show, including that yellow dress you just saw. She also had a pink and silver mini skirt ensemble. And finally, she wore this gorgeous red dress with a bodice and a large headdress. Fans were allowed to take out their phones for the finale when Beyonce was lifted 16 feet into the air on a platform, and the entire hotel exploded in a giant fireworks display. All right, but there's a but here. Folks are calling out Beyonce for accepting $24 million to perform in a country that still criminalizes homosexuality. Some say it's hypocritical since Beyonce has been very vocal about her support for the LGBTQ+ community. Is this fair, Jeff, Erica? What do we think of the performance? $24 million for an hour's work.
Yeah, secure the bag, Queen.
Talk to me about the way this looks.
It looks like she secured the bag.
What does that mean? Like, she got money?
Yeah, she got paid $24 million to do this, and that's what you can command when you're Beyonce.
Right.
Here's the issue for me, is that when people are constantly coming for people over every single thing they do, there's always going to be something that they're criticized for. That voice becomes not as impactful because it's you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. Do we absolutely, as the world stage, need to address human rights issues? Absolutely. Should we be fighting for human rights issues? Absolutely. Is this on the back of Beyonce? I don't think so. So I do understand that everyone's choices do contribute to, either if things are going to stay the same or if they're going to change. But Beyonce gets hit up for every single cause every day. Everything's always a problem. So I can understand why you have to make some choices based on your life and your family.
Fair, it's a choice. Did you think it was a good choice? Knowing that Beyonce stands behind the LGBT community, they love her music in general. It's an enormous gay icon in some ways. How did you feel about it?
I think everybody's got a price, and hers is $24 million. Listen, you can't stand up on award shows and preach on your Instagram or whatever it is, and I'm not even singling out Beyonce, I'm just singling out Hollywood in general, right? You sit up there and you're like, I support this and don't do this, and I want rights on this, and we support this in Hollywood, and I want this law change, and then go to Dubai and get paid $24 million with a country that doesn't support the things that you're preaching about. All I'm saying is, would I do it? Probably. That's a lot of money, right? I have the same problem. Just my agent called me, and I don't mean to be like, my agent called me, but my agent called me, he's like, hey, do you want to do a commercial? It's going to air on Fox News. I'm like, listen, man, I need some extra money, But how is that going to make me look that I have a commercial on Fox News? So I didn't do it because I'm not into position right now like Beyonce is, that she could overcome something like this. But a little small thing like that could ruin your career, right? Beyonce's above that. She, like we talk about getting canceled, she's above getting canceled.
She can't get canceled.
She's supporting her family, like Erica said. $24 million, it's a lot of money. But I'm sick of Hollywood preaching what and not practicing it. Preaching whatever but not practicing.
I gotta be honest, I thought it was surprising that she did it. I don't want to be someone who goes against Beyonce because that is like a terrible thing to do, and I love Beyonce. I was surprised that she went to a place in which LGBTQ community isn't represented well and is also criminalized. I thought that was surprising, but.
Well, is it? I mean, look at Bravo has Real Housewives of Dubai.
Yeah.
There's a huge LGBTQ plus QIA plus, sorry, demographic that caters to that network, or that network is catering to. It just seems like there's so many ways that people kind of make decisions, and it's never based on any type of a formula. So it's like coming after one person, why don't we actually do something that is helpful and impactful of the change that we want to see?
Yeah.
And how many others, let's take Beyonce out of it, right? Because it feels like we're attacking Beyonce. How many other artists have private concerts at home?
Bar mitzvahs.
Bar mitzvahs.
Let's be honest.
For people that support Trump or support things that you don't support. And they're just there, listen, I need a paycheck just like everybody else. But the person throwing that party is everything you're against, but you're there to get that paycheck. So let's not pick on Beyonce, because a lot of Hollywood people do this.
I just have to say that, but Beyonce's on a bigger platform here. I mean, everybody saw that. Not everyone sees the bar mitzvah.
Well, yeah, but just because you do it in quiet, it doesn't necessarily make it any better. And I would go as far as to say, if you can pay someone millions of dollars for a one-night performance, there might be some things in the past few years, maybe the generation before, that gave you that type of money to be able to pay someone like that. So just a
little thing. Just we want to take a look at that hotel really quick again. Would you guys? Erica stays at great hotels. Would you stay? Oh my God.
First of all, Beyonce, was she like? This is off the subject, but when she got lifted into the air, was there something holding her?
I'm sure she had a harness.
Someone came in and like hooked her into this little harness thing.
Okay, because I'm like, that's like a
I'm not a Dubai.
Protect Beyonce.
Dubai's not on my list.
It's not on your list.
No, because I like to feel free, more free than I am at home when I'm on vacation, and I don't want to think about there being rules for how to live
or dress.
I mean, I don't do anything totally out there. I mean, maybe I do. We just went to Vegas a couple weeks ago, but I don't want to think about that. Like, I want to be on vacation. I don't want rules.
Right. Interesting. I'm glad. I mean, she did it. I was surprised she did it. She didn't say do bye-bye. She went there.
Okay, and so did you.
I did. All right, coming up on DBL, there's a new push to free the nipple on Facebook and Instagram. Should the ban be removed? Plus, Lisa Marie Presley gets laid to rest at Graceland, and we're talking about her emotional memorial ceremony. Stay tuned. And as we go to break, we want to say that our thoughts and prayers are with everyone in Monterey Park, California, where there was a terrible mass shooting yesterday at the Lunar New Year celebration that left 10 people dead. We stand with you, we're thinking of you, and we pray for everyone who was affected. We'll be right back. It's a new year, and DBL is all the talk.
Let's get it going.
We had a lot to talk about last year.
I'm flexing every day.
And we're not stopping in 2023.
I'll see you guys on the flip side.
His daughter, Riley.
Yeah, so we were having a conversation. Jeff mentioned, thank you for sharing that story with us about getting that
Fox News
offer.
thing?
Yeah,
I didn't even tell you about that.
Yeah.
I didn't even bring it to the table because I'm already that guy, right, to the outside world. I don't need commercials airing on Fox News and just like to justify. But at the same time, I'm like, my family needs money, and this is what I do for money, and it's a commercial. I don't care what it's for. I don't care if I did a Valtrex commercial or whatever. Pick your medicine. I would do anything. But it's like that's how I make my money. But then people on the outside want to use that as this stigmatize you wouldn't do in some way.
Well,
I just said I turned down that Fox News, but if
you're gonna get naked for money?
no, I have morals, but I would do like a erectile dysfunction when I don't have a dysfunction to get paid. You know what I'm saying?
You do now.
You know what I'm just saying I would.
I really think that there's times, like there's certain things that's very telling about the character of people in terms of like what you'll do for money. So I appreciate you sharing this story because I can understand what your pushback would be, and those are decisions we have to make.
Welcome back. Lisa Marie Presley was laid to rest on Sunday at a public memorial service at Graceland. Friends, fans, and family members came out to say goodbye to Lisa Marie, who passed away earlier this month. Sarah Ferguson spoke about her longtime friendship with Lisa Marie and revealed the two used to call each other Sissy. Axl Rose spoke about how protective Lisa Marie was over Elvis's legacy and then sang the Guns N' Roses hit November Rain on the piano. And Alanis Morissette also performed her song Rest. Lisa Marie was buried next to her son Benjamin, who died in 2020. At the service, her mother Priscilla Presley read a poem written by one of her granddaughters that talked about Lisa Marie's grief from her son's death. Watch this.
She knew it was close to the end. Survivors, guilt, some would say, but a broken heart was the doing of her death. Now she is home where she always belonged, but my heart is missing her love.
Very sad. Very, very sad. What do you guys think of knowing that the end, hearing that? She said also she was a fragile flower. There's a sense that there was a premonition in some ways. Do you agree?
You know, you hear it's not incredibly uncommon when people lose someone very close to what we refer to as die from a broken
heart. Yeah.
But it's also incredibly unnatural for a parent to bury a child, and that is grief that you know, I think about when my uncle passed, and it was very sudden, and the thing that I think about the most was my grandmother, like walking into that hospital and seeing my grandmother because she was going to have to bury her child. And that's just like, that's one of, out of every funeral, everyone who's ever passed away, that's something that stays in my mind so much because I can't even explain the grief that was on her face and in her body.
Yeah, it's unnatural, as you said. It's absolutely unnatural. You were nodding along. What did you think?
Well, just having two sons, right? Having two children. Lisa Marie Presley did not look good when
I
you
agree
saw
with
her.
you.
Okay, and I'm not poking fun
at
here.
the Globes, I believe.
I'm saying it's weighed on her visually. It weighs on you. I don't know what I would do if something like that happened because I just don't know. Okay, and it obviously affected her in some sort of way.
Yeah.
Just it's. You know, when you look at something like this and you think like, man, I wish I was Beyonce. I wish I was a Kardashian. I wish I was married to Elvis. It's like, listen, what you see on Instagram is not true happiness, okay? You get that life for a while, and she was Elvis Presley's wife, but look at the grief. She lost a daughter. She lost a grandson. At what price do you pay? I feel like everything equals out in life, and happiness is what you make it. Not to be on movies, not to be on TV. It's whatever your dream is inside, and whatever makes you happy. It doesn't have anything to do with money. And seeing that is just like, to have your daughter back, you give it all away.
Yeah.
You give it all away. So appreciate what you have in the day. When I see that, I feel sad, but appreciate what you have. I appreciate my family, my two sons, and their health. And at the end of the day, that's really all that matters.
It really is. In Judaism, in a burial, you pour dirt. You are the first to take the shovel. There's a dirt and shovel, and you literally pour dirt on the coffin as an act of altruism because they can't do it themselves. And the sound it makes is very profound. And to think of a mother doing that to a son and thinking of your grandmother is like, sort of breaks the heart in a way that you can understand. Diagnosed, it would actually break the heart. And I think of Carrie Fisher and Debbie Reynolds, and she had a stroke, a day after Carrie died. So check those that are gone and check those around them and keep them close. But I hope they're together and I hope they're happy. And we are wishing the family well. Coming up on DBL, how far should freedom of expression go on Facebook and Instagram? We're talking about the movement, I'm gonna say it, to free the nipple on social media. That's coming up next. Stay tuned.
Classified documents from Joe Biden's time as vice president have been found in his Delaware home and an old office in D.C. The documents weren't supposed to be stored there under law, prompting a Justice Department investigation. Former President Trump is also under investigation for taking classified documents home with him, though he has since claimed he declassified them. Critics of President Biden say that's not a defense he can use here because a vice president can't declassify information. Verify viewer Ray wanted to know if that's true, so Ray, let's verify. Our sources, Executive Order 13526 and Kel McClanahan, a lawyer who specializes in national security. In 2009, President Obama signed an executive order that specifies who's allowed to classify and declassify stuff. It explicitly gives the president and vice president the authority to classify any document. And when it comes to declassifying, it identifies 4 kinds of people who have that authority. The person who originally classified it, their successor, their boss, or a delegate assigned by the head of their agency. In other words, if the VP originally classified a document, the order gives them explicit authority to declassify it. As for documents originally classified by someone else, the president and vice president oversee all executive branch agencies, so they count as a boss here and therefore have the authority to declassify.
It's been a long-standing practice in the executive branch to say that the vice president has delegated authority from the president and should be treated as pretty much the same. So anything the president can declassify, the vice president can declassify.
The only exceptions are certain information dealing with nuclear secrets, which are governed by a separate law, and any instance where the president explicitly forbids the VP from declassifying a piece of information. Meaning we can verify, yes, the vice president can declassify information.
Welcome back to DBL. Who should be allowed to flash their bare breasts when it comes to social media? Huh? That's the debate Facebook and Instagram are having right now. Currently, the platforms have a no nipple policy for women, which means men who are born male are the only people allowed to show their nipples. Well, for several years, transgender and non-binary users have been saying the policy is confusing and unfair, and now the social platforms are looking into possibly changing the rule. DBL Nation, we want to hear from you. Should Facebook and Instagram change their bare chest policy? So go ahead and go to DBL to cast your vote. Jeffrey, Nipplegate.
What movie is this from? The password is.
I don't know.
You guys don't know that movie?
No.
The Cable Guy.
Oh,
the
that
password
movie.
is nipple. Anyways, nobody got that? No. Wow. That's hilarious. It's Jim Carrey. Thank you, one guy got it.
Thanks,
okay.
Joel.
I love
Thanks, Joel.
I love my obscure movie references. Anyways, because I don't have a lot to say on this. Go ahead. Put it everywhere, post it all over. How many trans and non-binary people are there in the world? It's a small percentage. We don't talk about that a lot, right? Go ahead and do it. If that makes you happy, go ahead and do it.
It doesn't bother you.
It doesn't bother me at all. All the people complaining probably won't even see that because you don't follow any non-binary trans people. So you're not even going to see it. So go ahead and free it.
Okay, let me ask what about me?
Fire it out. Yeah, let it go, because then you can't complain about it. Just like magazines in Europe, nobody cares.
Exactly.
Put it out there and then nobody will care. They'll move on to something else they can complain about. That's it.
I appreciate that take. Fired out. What do you think, Erica?
I mean, hey, if you like it, I love it. I don't know what to say about it. I mean, personally, I don't need to see it. Like, I mean, it's not something where I'm like, men, woman, non-binary, trans, like, that's not what I'm looking for when I'm looking at people. Mm-hmm. But if that makes you happy, I want more happiness in the world. Just go ahead and do it. I mean, I'm fired up. But I'm not like, I don't know. I don't. It's not something I'm going to request from anybody. Really.
Right. Or something that you would do yourself if they would allow it. Maybe.
Yeah, no.
That's what
if
I'm
going to
saying,
do that, I'm certainly not going to do it on Instagram. I would go to OnlyFans because you have to pay for that. You don't have to pay.
Money.
Hey.
Clip. Isn't that right? I just have to say, America, I agree with you on that one point so strongly. America, we are so taboo and puritanical and pilgrims about the whole sex thing. And in Europe, it is very normalized, easygoing, and it doesn't become an issue. I say free the nipple, free the nipple, free the nipple. Was I not supposed to say it 3 times? All right. Should pictures showing bare chest be allowed on Facebook? What did you guys say? No. 66% of you, 34% of you say yes. It's going to happen. It'll be there at some point.
I want to poll to see how many people got my reference from the cable guy.
I actually don't love the cable guy.
But you saw it.
Yeah.
Well, what's up?
Okay. A woman is going viral on TikTok. Her husband tried to clean their stainless steel fridge, and let's just say it didn't go very well. Let's just take a look at that.
Well, on today's episode of Why Are Men Like This, my lovely husband, who has been home for the holidays, tried to help cleaning, and he took steel wool, yes, steel wool, to clean our fridge. And now we have this kind of abstract scratch marks.
Okay, steel wool, steel. Lots of people commented that he probably did this, though, on purpose, so he isn't asked to clean anything ever again, saying, would he do this to his car, so why would he do it to the fridge?
I have a very simple solution. New refrigerator, upgrade time. The only way that people learn their lesson is if they lose money. So that is a very expensive mistake. Have your husband buy you the refrigerator of your dreams. I bet this will never happen again.
Wow, interesting. What's your take?
Well, I don't want to make that big purchase. So, yeah, if my wife did that, I'd be like, what are you doing? Because I could see something like this happening. But I'd make a project out of it. I'd like Google, how do I fix this fridge?
Right.
I'm sure there's some cool paint you could put on there.
Or do the other
make it a chalkboard. I don't know. I would do something and like make it artsy and fun, and then when people came over, be like, make it like a conversation piece.
And open it.
Spending $5,000 isn't my way.
Well,
I'm not taking that path.
It's an expensive mistake.
That is an expensive. Do you guys think he did it on purpose? Do you think he thought wool, steel wool, that it'll do it?
I hope he didn't do it on purpose.
I don't think he did. I think I could understand me making you guys know me. I would make that mistake, I feel like.
I feel like you would too.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. Always. We'll be right back. Steel wool.
Will the new DC crime bill make us safer or make life easier for criminals? We can't predict the future, but we can verify some of the big claims being made about the revised Criminal Code Act, like how it changes penalties for violent crimes. We looked at the current criminal code and the new bill and spoke with Janu Park, executive director of the DC Criminal Code Reform Commission, an independent DC government agency that's been working on the bill for years. The revised code overhauls how crimes are defined and penalized. Because of that, comparing it with the old code isn't a direct one-to-one process.
It's important and people are concerned, and I think there's a lot of good faith misunderstanding out there.
Taken independently, yes, standalone penalties for most offenses are reduced. DC Mayor Muriel Bowser pointed out that the maximum penalty for illegal possession of a weapon will be reduced from 15 to 4 years. But Park explains that's not the whole story. Think of it this way. Rather than defining each offense as a standalone item, the new code gives prosecutors a series of building blocks, and those blocks can be put together to fit any given criminal offense. Take a carjacking case, like the one we saw last year when someone drove away with a child in the back seat.
Well, in a case like that, the person could be convicted of carjacking plus kidnapping, to say nothing of any kind of weapons offenses and other enhancements that might apply.
Enhancements meaning more building blocks added. If the carjacker did have a gun, both the carjacking and the kidnapping would be enhanced, increasing the maximum penalty from 18 to 24 years. And we found a list of different types of enhancements that could increase someone's maximum sentence, like if the person was committing a hate crime or has a criminal record. Of course, there are some cases where enhancements don't apply, and that can result in lower penalties in this revised Criminal Code Act. If you have questions about the crime bill, send us an email at verify@WUSA9.com or text us at 202-895-5599. With your Verify, I'm Abby Larico.
Carole Baskin, star of the 2020 hit Netflix documentary Tiger King, has gone viral again. Baskin's husband, Don Lewis, went missing in 1997 and was legally declared dead in 2002. In the show, Baskin was accused of killing Lewis and feeding him to the tigers at one of her animal sanctuaries. She's never been formally charged or named as a suspect, and she denies ever being involved in his disappearance. But in a recently resurfaced interview clip from 2021 with a British TV network, Baskin made a big announcement.
Homeland Security says he's alive and well in Costa Rica.
So let's verify. Is there any evidence that Carole Baskin's husband was found alive? We went to these sources for an answer. Don Lewis remains a missing person according to Florida's Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office, which is leading the investigation into his disappearance. On January 19th, the Sheriff's Office told Verify they had not received any communication from our federal partners that confirms the location of missing person Mr. Don Lewis. The U.S. State Department, which keeps track of U.S. citizens who are missing abroad, told Verify that reports of Lewis being found in Costa Rica are unconfirmed. So we can verify, no, there isn't evidence Carole Baskin's husband has been found alive. With your Fast Fact, I'm Ariante Till.
Welcome back. Want to have whiter teeth, but don't want to deal with the messy strips or sensitivity that goes with it? You're in luck. The brand that brought you Power Whitening Gel has created new Smile Actives Pro Whitening Gel with 33% greater whitening power. Effective tooth whitening can be achieved at home by simply adding the Pro Whitening Gel to the toothpaste every time you brush. No change to your routine, no extra time or effort needed. And in a clinical study, users saw an improvement of up to 8 shades after using the gel for just 30 days. Smile Actives is safe, effective, and will even work on crowns, bonding, and dentures. Order today for a special buy one, get one free offer. Don't wait to get your brighter, whiter smile. Call 1-800-700-4040 or visit smileactives.com today. I'm always so self-conscious of my teeth after I read that one. Okay, DBL Nation, it is time to spread the love because in case you haven't heard, our very own Erica Cobb has been nominated for an NAACP Image Award. And you, the viewers who love her so much, could help her win this prestigious honor. You have until February 10th to cast your vote. It is so simple. You scan the QR code on your screen, it goes to the podcast category, click on Outstanding Society and Culture Podcast, and then cast your vote for Comeback with Erica Cobb. Also, if you don't listen to her podcast already, you are not good. It is time. It is time, and you need to start listening to it. How does this feel? I haven't been able to talk to you about it.
Oh my gosh, I
was screaming.
Yeah, I was just completely freaked out because wasn't expecting.
You weren't.
But I'm so proud. I'm so happy, and it's just talking to my parents has really been the biggest joy in celebrating this with them because I am able to bring them to a couple events.
Oh my gosh.
And do red carpets with them.
Oh my gosh,
And
Dr.
just
Cobb.
the blessing of having my parents here to celebrate. The NAACP is so important, in our community in general, but especially to our family. So I'm very excited, and thank you for everyone who's been supporting me and all of y'all.
Absolutely.
And vote.
And vote. Remember, we'll see you same time, same place tomorrow. Bye.